Let me just make sure everything's going. Yeah, I'm having a chat with an old friend from a million years ago, late 60s, Michael Nowak. He is the artistic director and conductor of Orchestra Novo in San Luis Obispo, a new orchestra in that neck of the woods, just completing its first season. And we're going to talk about this last concert of the first season of Orchestra Novo at the San Luis Obispo Performing Arts Center. It's coming up. Michael, let me just get down to the nitty gritty, get some of the news passed, get a phone number out. This is going to go out all over Central and Southern California so that people can get busy and start writing down the phone number, okay? We are talking about a performance coming up of Orchestra Novo, wonderful title, wonderful idea, wonderful concept. It's called A Triumphant Heart, and we are going to find out all about that in a moment. Guest artist, Sunday, May 29th at 3 p.m., by the way, at the gorgeous Performing Arts Center in San Luis Obispo. Such a beautiful venue in San Luis, let alone beautiful San Luis Obispo. Sunday, May 29th, 3 p.m. Guest artist is Canadian pianist Marika Bornacki. She's going to be playing the Schumann Concerto. Guest artists, Vocal Arts Ensemble of San Luis Obispo. They're going to do the tremendously moving Hymn to the Fallen, John Williams theme. Concert's going to open with Brahms' Academic Festival Overture. And then, really, the whole point of this afternoon's concert, something very, very special. It's celebrating Orchestra Novo's adaptation of an original concept by InterArts creator, you can see I'm reading this, Bobby Jo Hart. She's a documentary filmmaker, director, producer. That's interesting considering Michael's career is also as a conductor in film. Very interesting. It's a collaborative effort, and by the way, that is the word of the 21st century. Collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. And it's a collaborative effort with the Grizzly Youth Academy in San Luis Obispo. That one we got to hear about. Michael will tell us all about it. Performing Arts Center tickets? Geez, give me a break. $15 to $55. This is like dirt cheap in one of the most beautiful performing arts centers in the whole region. And you can, all of you out there, Southern California, Central California, you're going to come up from LA. Michael has tons of friends in the Hollywood film industry. Get on up for a Sunday afternoon in San Luis Obispo. You'll have dinner afterwards. It'll be marvelous in San Luis Obispo. The website for tickets at the Performing Arts Center San Luis Obispo is www.pacslo.org. www.pacslo.org. And I need all of you to go have a look at Orchestra Novo's website, because not only is it a beautiful new orchestra in that neck of the woods, but you're going to get a whole lot better information and some very, very moving videos that Michael's going to talk about here in a bit about this project. It's really something. And Marika, I know, is a brilliant young pianist, and she's passionate about bringing music to children. It goes on and on. Michael, you've been silent because I've been so mouthy. It's time. Tell me about this co-creation project that Orchestra Novo is involved in.
Well, thank you very much, Dan. It's such a pleasure to see you again. We have been friends for so long. I think the first time I met you.
You have more hair than I do. That's not fair. Go ahead.
Was in 1971, I believe, and I think at that time you may have been the conductor of the San Luis Obispo Symphony.
Yes, well, I was run out of town on a rail shortly thereafter. But yeah, I spent a very interesting year in my very, very naive youth as conductor of San Luis Obispo Symphony.
Well, that's when I first met you, and we were introduced by our good friend Ann Miller, the flutist.
Oh yeah,
yes. And that's when I first heard about San Luis Obispo. It really intrigued me that it was such a gorgeous place that I hadn't really gotten to know until really just 1980s.
Yeah.
But I would like to tell you and your listeners and viewers a little bit about this project. I think it's a very, very meaningful situation that I've gotten myself into. I had been approached a couple of years ago by some friends that had seen a documentary called I Am Not a Rock Star, which featured the young Marika Bornacki from her years of age 12 through age 20, growing up in Montreal, Canada, and into her early years at the Juilliard School of Music. The filmmaker was Bobby Jo Hart, And through some friends who knew Bobby Joe Hart, I was able to connect with her. And we came up with an idea of how we could really take the idea, the concept that she had brought to with Marika's attention, and that basically is uh, playing music and have people draw to that music, and then later on having those pictures shown on the screen as the music is being performed live. And so I like that idea very much, and it's interesting then because I did a lot of studying and research about pieces, short pieces for piano and orchestra, what age group would be appropriate, and I found really nothing at short amount of time, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. That's basically the attention span of a young child that's going to be drawing. Plus, they want happy music. And some of the pieces were pretty obscure, some Stravinsky works and some other contemporary works and other things that didn't really seem appropriate for the occasion. So I kept going through this book that I have that has all these pieces of music. And I saw piano work for a Ravel Pavan, the Ravel Pavan. I thought, oh, that's the Ravel Pavan that I know as an orchestral work. And then I thought, well, that would be nice because it's only about 5.5, 6 minutes long. What we could do is maybe play the piano version, and then we could also play the orchestral version. And yeah, that would be a great kind of way of contrasting how people hear piano notes to an orchestral notes, the color spectrum. The question was, when I talked to some art teachers, was that this music was a little bit too slow, a little bit too long, and a little bit too sad for little children. And so I started thinking, what group out there would this could I attract more? Could this affect more? Would this be linked to? And that's where I got to hitch up the idea of the Grizzly Academy. I had been out to the Grizzly Academy in past years, and I can tell you a little bit about them. The Grizzly Academy is a place where at-risk high school students go as sort of a last-ditch effort to change their lives around. Now, yes, in the video that you saw, they are in uniform, and that's because they are based at the National Guard compound here in San Luis Obispo, right next to Cuesta College. And they really do live a kind of a military little lifestyle for the 5 months that they are there. And they really are only there for 5 months. And in that period of time that they go there, they have to change their lifestyle completely. So the first few weeks, maybe month or so, they no cell phones, no iPads, no boyfriend, girlfriend, no sugar, no caffeine, no nicotine. They are basically cleaning their systems so that they can start afresh. And when I also noticed that they don't have first names over there. They're not Bob or Carol or Steve or Jenny. They're Cadet Valdez or Cadet Anderson. They are taught as if they were part of the military. They get up early in the morning, they do their chores, they do marching, they respond in group all at once, and then they go to school at the place that's the Grizzly Academy, which is actually a magnet school within the National Guard facility. When I brought this idea up to the Board of Education and Dr. James Brescia and the director of the Grizzly Academy, Paul Piet, explaining that I wanted to see what the reaction would be by playing a piece of music for students that had some grief in their lives, because the Pavan for a Dead Princess actually has some sort of downward concepts to it. One thinks of sort of sadness about it. We didn't mention that to the students. We didn't say Pavan for a Dead Princess. We just said Pavan. But it seems that the music itself already has some kind of magnetism and really gripped the students as they were listening to it. So Bobby Joe Hart and Marika created a video in Montreal about a month ago where Marika invites the students of the Grizzly Academy to help her with this project. She sits at her piano at house in Montreal and says, I'm going to play a piece of music, and now I want you to close your eyes and see how it affects you. And so then she begins to play the Ravel Pavane. I love the Fauré Pavane too. The Ravel Pavane on the piano, and then she plays it again, and then they start to draw. And we had people donate art supplies and paper and things like that. And so all the students in these classes, and there were 8 different classes that were involved, approximately 25 kids per class, just started opening up and letting it go out. The music really got to them. There was really very little talking around. I did notice they got more excited when we put the orchestral version in, because I think it just had more colors. It had the sound of the French horn at the beginning, and the oboes and the strings. It was very inviting them to express themselves. And so each group had between an hour and a half and 2 hours to accomplish this art project, where they painted what their imaginations and what their hearts and what their feelings were as they heard this music. So at the end of that day, we collected, well, there were 2 days, and we ended up collecting those pieces of art. We have photographed them now. We are cataloging them, and on the 29th of May at the San Luis Obispo Performing Arts Center, Marika Bernacchi will be here. She will play in person the Ravel Pavane on the piano, and we will play the Ravel Pavane orchestral version. And above us on the screen will be the beautiful artworks that they have chosen to paint for us. I got to tell you, Dan, I didn't know what to expect. I thought maybe half the kids would say, "I don't do this, leave me out of this. I'm just going to study something else." But we had 100% cooperation, participation. And there were students that started right away. They just couldn't help themselves. As soon as they heard the music, they started painting. Others took an inordinate amount of time just getting it started, getting the ideas rolling in their head, thinking it over and over and over. And then when they let it go, it was just profound. It was magnificent. There are some paintings there that are just spectacular. There are some that are heart-wrenching and powerful beyond words, because when my wife Suzette actually interviewed a few of these students after they had finished doing their paintings and asked, well, what's the story about? There were some things that were so deep that we really had to leave the room because it was too much to even absorb. And we feel we learned so much about the courage of these young people and what they've had to deal with in their lives up to now, and how they've managed to just live with it. And this was a way for them to express themselves non-verbally, where they can just show what their feelings were. There were a lot of pictures of flowers. There were a lot of pictures of half sun and half darkness. There were lots of pictures with roads in them, as if we were all traveling somewhere. There were lots of pictures of crying people. There were lots of pictures of R.I.P., rest in peace. So somebody in someone's family had died, and this music just brought those feelings out. I heard one kid just turn around and says, "This music makes me sad." They had never heard this piece before in their life. Most of them probably never heard classical music in their life, and this was a chance for us to really experiment with the power of music and how it reaches all of us in some really profound manner.
Yeah, so let no one mistake what this achievement is, and the power of music that you and I and all of us and anyone in the arts. The arts are so important to just human society, to helping people to understand who they are, where they've come from, how to express themselves. And you have taken these kids, a piece of music, Ravel, the Pavane, the beautiful piece, they have instantly, from what you've described, gotten the message. It's a sad piece, of course. And moreover, that music has allowed them to express themselves in this visual manner, creating pictures. It makes me feel good. It makes you feel good. It should make the entire audience at the Performing Arts Center in San Luis Obispo feel good. You're going to start the concert with Academic Festival Overture. How can it get any more exhilarating for kids and Academic Festival Overture? In other words, onward to an academic future for these kids. And then we're going to have the lovely Schumann Concerto. And I presume, is that about how it works? And after intermission, when are you going to put the
Yeah,
performance?
The Schumann will be after intermission. We opened with the Academic Festival Overture, and it was sort of a no-brainer since it was the Academy, the Grizzly Academy, and they will be graduating from the Academy just around that time. I'm very proud of them. I've gotten to know them as human beings. We know that the facility exists there, but we don't know what happens there. And this was 2 days of experiencing these people as human beings, looking into their eyes and into their hearts, and believing that they will do good things in their life now. I have hope for most of these people because they've been guided very well. The Grizzly Academy is a phenomenal place. The teachers there are very, very dedicated, and they're very insistent.
You get rid of your agent. Go ahead.
They're very insistent about nurturing these young folks and making sure that they have every opportunity they can. They learn a great deal about themselves from the teachers, and they have a lot of support through this whole process.
Yeah. Go ahead, get rid of your agent.
Sorry about that. I don't know how to do it.
I want to know a little bit about Orchestra Novo's future. What's going on for next year, the second full season of Orchestra Novo. Let's just kind of touch upon it. I want to do a little bit of a recap, and then let's get everybody very, very focused on coming up to San Luis Obispo for this extraordinary human event. I mean, it's really something, and it's a model that I hope other orchestras will be inspired by. This is how we're going to reach young people, is to really get to their, as you said, their hearts, their souls. They don't even realize it. And through what a marvelous medium, where their brain is extended to their hand, to their drawing implement. They have this oral experience that they can obviously understand, and so on. It's just amazing. What's going on next year with Orchestra Nova?
Well, I would just say, Dan, for me, the gratifying thing of it after all was said and done was that the faculty and administrators said, would you like to come back in the fall for the next group? Excellent. So they saw what the power of this process was, and I hope that we'll have an opportunity to extend this to other groups of disadvantaged folks out there, perhaps learning disabilities like autism and cerebral palsy, perhaps. Maybe older folks with dementia or early Alzheimer's, where we can tap that resource, and then some other folks in the hospice situation where they can give us their last glimpse of hope.
It's absolutely magnificent what you just said. The possibilities are incredible, what you've just described. And remember, we know already that people in dementia become much more conscious from music. They really perk up immediately with music. So this gives gives a stamp of authenticity to what we devote our lives to in creating great music, and as others do in creating great works of art. This is validity for what we do, and it is helping others. So that's all there is. Look, concert is a triumphant heart, I should say. Sunday, May 29th, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the really splendid, gorgeous San Luis Obispo Performing Arts Center. Well worth the drive up to San Luis Obispo. Special guests, Vocal Arts Ensemble of San Luis Obispo. They're going to do John Williams' Hymn to the Fallen. Program's going to open on a big, wonderful, bright, positive note with Brahms' Academic Festival Overture. Canadian pianist Marika Bornacki is going to be performing the Schumann Concerto, and then we will see this. Then we'll hear the Pavane, the Ravel Pavane for a Dead Princess, and see above the orchestra projected these images that these kids have created. I want to make sure everybody goes to a couple of sources. We want you all to go. The ticket's $15 to $55. I mean, go. You can afford to have dinner. Come up and have dinner after the concert and so on. The address for the Performing Arts Center is www.pavane.org. pacslo.org, PACSLO.org. And I would like people to really have a look at Orchestra Novo's website. You are going to be very, very moved. I'm getting choked up already by the videos that are there already about this extraordinary concert coming up. The web address for Orchestra Novo is www.orchestranovo.com. Phone number for tickets. So you can, so in case that we got a sellout going on here, in the San Luis Obispo area code 805, the telephone number for the box office at the Performing Arts Center is 756-4849, 3 o'clock, Sunday, May 29th. Michael, what a pleasure seeing you. What a great project. What a great new orchestra in your neck of the woods. Carry on.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Pleasure.
See ya.
See you soon.
We're done. Okay.